Hello, and welcome to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway podcast. That's right. Your host and tour guide is Scott Prevett, a healer, hypnotist, and a magician. And your bus driver is Jason Gobelli, also a hypnotist, an entrepreneur, and a spiritual guide. Disclaimer, neither Jason, Scott, or any of our guests here today are licensed professional psychologists or psychiatrists. So please don't make any changes to any medication or treatments that you are currently on based on the conversation that you hear here today. Just hop on the bus and enjoy the ride. Trip with us on the Inner Revelation bus. That's right.
Hi, I'm Jason, and welcome back to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway. We are excited today. We got a great guest, don't we, Scott?
Indeed, we do.
That's right. We got the great Nicole Weber. Nicole, how are you?
Thank you. I'm very good. Thanks for
Awesome.
having me here. I'm looking forward to this.
Welcome, welcome.
You're not looking forward
Thank
to it as
you.
much as we are, so let's get started.
I don't know about that. Yes, let's dive in.
Nicole, who are you and what do you do?
Oh my goodness, that's a very tough question. I'm a hypnotist, obviously. But who am I? So I'm 49 years old, female. I am German, and I moved to the US 5 months ago. What I do work-wise is a lot of things. I get bored easily, so I have been adding lots and lots of stuff to my education. I'm a social scientist by training, have a diploma degree, which would be equivalent to a master's. I do equine assisted work. In Germany, I was a licensed counselor. Now that I'm in the US and now that I'm based in Texas, I am not looking to get a licensed mental health practitioner here because it would just take a long time to get that done. So here I work as a hypnotist, as a coach. I provide mental performance coaching for athletes. One of my, I would say, micro niches is I work with equestrians and their horses a lot, but I also work with entrepreneurs. I teach hypnosis. I'm a NGH certified instructor. Um, One of my uh, topics I really care about is trauma therapy, trauma related or informed coaching. So that is something I focus on a lot, especially also when working with athletes who get afraid after injuries, accidents, and stuff. Very often there's also trauma involved from childhood, but also accidents can be traumatic and illnesses and stuff like that. So, and I always am working on something, um, trying to learn stuff, educate myself about different things. I am neurodivergent, so that is also something that I dive into. I'm an author, I speak at conferences, and these are my two books I have out in German. And one of the first one will come out next year in the US and all the English speaking countries. I got a book deal for that, yay. Yeah, so, and maybe I don't know if that's of interest. Of course, I have a horse, and he traveled with us to the US. Well, not with us, he was on a different plane, and a dog and a cat. And we live close to Dallas. Yeah,
Nice.
that's it.
Nice. So I see that your books both have horses on them, and I know that you're so
Yeah.
connected to the horses. So let's talk about that bond that you have with those horses. What is that all about?
Oh, sure. Whew, yeah, I would definitely say I'm one of the horse girls. So I fell in love with horses. I think when I was 3 years old. At that point in time, my family, we lived in El Paso, and my mom wanted to get into riding and took riding lessons at at a ranch nearby. And I just was in awe of these beautiful creatures and was always so happy when someone picked me up and I was allowed to be on a horse's back. And that love just has never stopped. So I got into riding, I think, when I was 7 years old, and um, just, I mean, you see part of my bookshelf. There's another one on the other side, and it's filled with books about horses. And I've learned so much about them. Also, I used to accompany my equine vet so that I could learn more about typical horse diseases. I'm also trained in stuff like that and also traditional Chinese medicine for animals. So I also do acupuncture. I'm not allowed to do that here, but I have the knowledge. Um, and I just think horses are, you can have such a close bond with them. I would probably say with all the domesticated animals. I mean, many people see their cats or their dogs as part of the family. And for me, my horse is part of my family. Or my horses are. I lost one horse. mm, 3 years ago. He was very, very dear to my heart. And yeah, they are just very sensitive creatures. And they are very often used in therapy for humans, whether it is in psychotherapy, but also you have probably heard about hippotherapy, where they help disabled people, for instance, get some strength and coordination. And I also use horses for coaching and use them in psychotherapy with my clients.
Nice. So these horses you're bringing them into your practice and your change work. So
Yeah.
what's the crossover like here? Where do
Sorry again.
What's the crossover like? How do they play a part in your change work with others?
Oh, okay. So, obviously they play a huge role when I work with equestrians. Very often I work with equestrians who have riding fear after accidents, like they got bucked off or the horse bolted, stuff like that. And it's not very often you would think that it's equestrians who aren't very knowledgeable about riding and they are beginners, but that's absolutely not true. I've been working with Olympians. Dressage riders, eventers, jumpers who have been riding for decades and know a lot about their animal companions, but they also suffer from fear. And then we always have a look at what's the relationship about, what's the connection. And um, some would say horses mirror humans. That's a bit of an outdated term. I mean, horses have mirror neurons like we do. What they do is they react to our emotions and what we show. Um, and they have an awesome sense of smell. So they can smell where your hormone levels are at, whether you are stressed, whether you are afraid. They sense your heartbeat. They sense your breathing patterns. And when you have a close relationship to a horse, that will affect their whole body, as in they will kind of adjust their breathing pattern, their heartbeat to yours. So when I work with a client and a horse, I want to see how does the horse react to the client. When we, for instance, if you hypnotize a person, and wait, let's put it this way. So when I start working with a horse and a client, and let's say the horse isn't really too interested in that person. Let's say he's more like, yeah, okay, well, there's a new human, and I don't know, I rather stay away. And then I hypnotize that person, and somehow, I mean, you know how it is. They emerge from hypnosis, and they are in a better mood. They have different energy, and suddenly the horse is like, "Oh, hey, who are you? I'm so interested in you." Or they also go into trance. That's awesome, always awesome to see when, human and horse both get in that state, and you can see that they connect somehow, and the horse gets like, God, I like this energy. I want to be closer to you. So very often when I work with a horse person, the relationship between the horse and the human changes due to our change work. So I always say horses really honor and respect what we are doing for their humans. So yeah.
Nice. Well, I notice you're also a Reiki master, so you got a lot of dealing with energies. So are you pulling energies from the horse in the cycle here and using Reiki with your hypnosis?
That's a good question. I always say hypnosis is energy work. It's only a different type of energy work. Um, uh, and I might consciously add Reiki to it, or I might not. Um, I think hmm, I'm not pulling energy from the horse, but more like trying to also pull like energy from the environment, from the earth, the air, universe, um, and like transfer that to human and animal, mm, like maybe thinking about creating a protective bubble around them or surrounding all of us. I might work Reiki on the horse or treat the horse as well, usually after a session with a human. Sometimes I might add it while I'm doing that. Very well, sometimes if a rider is knowledgeable about energy work, they will notice that when I give them a riding lesson, I don't really give riding lessons. It's more like I'm a riding instructor, but I don't, well, we might work on different movements and stuff, but I don't see myself as a typical riding instructor. I hypnotize my rider while they are riding. So, um, and I also kind of work on the energy. And some of the riders notice. Most don't. They are just like, my horse is different today. They are so different with you. Why is that?
So it seems to me like when you're doing your change work, it's spiritual in nature as well.
Yes, it is. I don't, let's put it that way. I don't advertise it. I like to be able to explain everything I do in scientific terms. Um, So I don't talk much about what I do when it comes to spirituality or what I believe in. I usually don't talk about this. I also don't talk about the energy aspect with my clients, at least, as long as they aren't really, most of them really aren't interested in it anyway. They just want to see change, and um, doesn't really matter to them how they are getting that. And I would say most of them aren't really interested in, the woo-woo stuff. Let's put it this way.
Nicole, we're on
Yeah.
your magical psyche highway today. So,
Yeah.
of course, we're going to talk about these things that you don't talk about. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about this energy that you're pulling through the horse. I mean, is that even, are you even using them as a tool or possibly a guide?
Okay, I'm gonna unpack. So, I think I started my hypnotic journey when I was 12. So I'm one of the early starters. Same time, I got really interested in tarot. And since I grew up in Germany, or I would say you've had this here as well, but in Europe, the burning times, the witch trials were obviously a huge deal. I've been a bookworm since I was able to read, so I just read everything that got into my hands. And when I read about tarot and self-hypnosis and trance, that kind of led me to witchcraft. So I dived into that and into shamanism, the different types there are. Since I used to live in Europe, of course, European shamanism was closest, like the Nordic traditions, Druidism. I later was part of a coven. I did the oracle work, did a lot of trance work there. Um, and I work with different deities. Um, and one of them is Epona. And Epona is a goddess that is very close to horses and horse people. And um, I don't I don't work with hmm, I might, before I start working with a client, well, I prepare myself to provide space and connect. Um, I don't, apart from that, I would say an outsider would not know um, during a session what there might be. I don't know how to put it. If that makes sense.
Well, it seems like you have a lot of experiences that you've been through. So, when
Yeah.
was that first aha moment? That, oh, I'm really going to be able to help people with what I'm learning, with what I'm doing. When did that happen and what's that all about?
Ooh. Hmm. I don't know whether I had like a big aha moment about that. I don't think so. Um, it was more like it was a natural, gradual transition. As in, people asked about my opinion, or they would tell me a lot about themselves, and then would go on, "You are the first person I've ever told this." Um, but part of my studies was psychology. So I always felt, yeah, maybe it's natural. Um, yeah, so I don't know whether I really have had a big aha moment about that.
Well,
Sorry.
well, that's okay. Well, in your journey then, who have been your guides, your mentors? Who have you looked up to and who've helped you?
Uh, well, I would definitely say there are so many different people. Mm, many of them you wouldn't know. Like,
Hey, you know,
German. Huh? Yeah, I know them. A very good friend of mine, for instance, his name is Florian Schlie. Um, he he has been in my life for the last 20 years. He um he is a torchbearer from the Covenant of Hecate. And we have been working together. He has a temple for Hecate and has like open rituals. And within those rituals, I sometimes was providing oracles. Um, we've been doing a lot of stuff together. I've learned from him a lot. He has learned from me. Um, he, I had the honor of teaching him hypnosis. So he's one of my students, and there I learned a lot from books, I would definitely say. Um, let me see. I mean, ah. Scott Cunningham was definitely a huge deal for me. I would say his books were probably the first that were really recognized. Doreen Valiente, um, but Raven Grimassi, so many. Silver Ravenwolf. I love her. Janine Trier, I just love her books. I would say probably I have all of them. Storm Fairy Wolf. I got to know him during a witch seminar in Germany. He was a teacher there. He's in the fairy tradition. Um, and a vet I know, she is also an initiate of the fairy tradition. Her name is, well, her witch name is Shira. I wouldn't want to out her here. So, and when it comes to hypnosis, so many different people. Um, I would probably say all the big names you can think of. Um, and sometimes when I get asked questions like these, my mind just goes blank. And it's like, I have the name on the tip of my tongue. Uh, right now, I just can't think about it. But for instance, Ina Simpson for a couple of years played a big part in my life. We had been working together, and I've added to the Simpson protocol the work with animals um, within the Simpson protocol. I did a lot of that, and then we moved in different directions again. So, yeah, many people.
nice, nice. Scott, your turn, man. You had a few questions for us.
Sure. So when you are looking back over all the stuff that you do, what's your favorite thing that you do? Your favorite modality?
My favorite modality is that I can mix and match all of them. I love hypnosis, obviously. I love energy work. Within hypnosis, there's so many different tools, and also from trauma. So I draw from trauma therapy. Some of the trauma therapy modalities are very hypnotic. They are based on hypnosis, really. So I draw them. I like EMDR, and mix and match. I love hypnoanalytics. I like regression, but I probably do it in a different way than it's taught most of the time. So, yeah.
Well, what in earth would make you move from Germany to Texas, of all places?
Uh, so I grew up, like I said, I grew up in El Paso, which is in Texas. And when I was 6 years old, we moved back to Germany because my father wanted me to have a proper German education. And I was so surprised to learn that I am not American. Because, I mean, you know how it is. Um, you go to school, you learn about your responsibilities as an American, you know. Um, and then I learned I'm not. And I thought I was. That was very frustrating in a way. Being moved from the desert to gray, wet northern Germany was quite a shock. And I didn't really speak much German at that time. I understood it, but I spoke English, so I had a transition phase of not really being able to express myself for some time. And when I learned later that we could have stayed in the US, I got so frustrated. Well, my dad, he had there's a German term for it. It's called Heimweh. It's when you ache for for the place where that you call home. So, and he had that very much for the place where he was born and raised in. So we moved back there. It's not, well, it is also part of my home, but not, I never felt really at home there. Um, as an adult, I used to work for Hanover Re, which is the third biggest reinsurance company of the world. And I was in charge of their US casualty program business. So I was traveling in the US like a lot, 3 to 10 times a year. And every time I was here on American soil, my heart would open. And I would be like, yes, this is the place. Here, I am home. I have this feeling in the Midwest, and the Western states, and the Southern states, and some of the Eastern states, not all of them. But I just knew that I wanted to move to the US at some point in my life again. Um, I'm married to a fantastic woman, and she first was on US soil in 2017, and on our flight back, she said to me, "So why don't we live in the US?" And I was like, "We just bought a house like a couple months ago. Are you crazy?" And then we talked about it and decided, okay, if you want this too, let's do it somehow. And we would have moved to Massachusetts in 2020. I got a job offer. I just could not refuse from a former client of mine when I was still in the reinsurance industry. But then you know what happened? The whole world came to an abrupt stop. No visas were being issued, and so that didn't work out. And then I was thinking, okay, I don't like to, I don't I like to take matters into my own hands, and then thought, okay, I need to figure out a way, since I'm not a US citizen, I have to come up with a plan, and decided that I would go down a certain visa route. It's an investment visa where you can either buy a company or you form a company and you invest in the US and add to the US economy, and um, also employ Americans. I'm not at the stage where I employ people, since I've only been here for a couple months. Right now, I'm really yeah, trying to build momentum, increase my revenue, stuff like that. But I thought about, okay, what would be a good place? And since I was in Texas in my childhood years, that is close to my heart. And I've a couple of former clients are in the DFW area, and horses play a huge deal here. So I'm in Denton County, which is also called horse country because there are so many ranches, horse farms, trainers, riding facilities, and I figured that would be a good place. We're here.
Nice.
Awesome. What do you look back in 10 years from now? What do you hope that you've accomplished?
Ah. Well, I'm crazy rich in 10 years, and I can give back on so many different levels, helping the environment, but also rescuing horses, loads and loads of them. Um, that is definitely something that I want.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
let's ask you this now. So now you got all this going on and we have all these plans and everything, but how do our viewers get in touch with you?
Sure. Well, I'm on Facebook. I don't warm up to Instagram too much, so you'll find me on Facebook. You'll also find me on LinkedIn, even though I'm still not very used to the LinkedIn thing yet. And on my websites, one of them is performabilityllc.com. Another one
Can you spell
is
that for us?
huh?
Can you spell that for us so I can put it up on the
Yeah.
screen?
Yeah. PERFORMABILITY. So it's Performability LLC, one word, .com. And the other is athleticpeakperformance.com, also one word. And right now I'm building, I also have a German website. It's Equihypnose. And I'm gonna transfer that to English as well, and that will be equi hyphen performability.com. But I can send you those.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be great. Okay, Scott, any other thing you have to ask? Any other questions for Nicole?
We're really thankful that you took time out of your busy schedule to come here today and share your time with
Oh,
us.
absolutely. Like I said, thank you for having me.
Nicole, I got
I
another
really appreciate it.
question for you.
Sure.
What's your words of wisdom for our viewers?
Always believe in yourself and really take care of yourself and honor the little child that resides inside of you.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Well, is there anything else you want to add?
Continue on your path of education. Never stop learning.
That's
I
the
think that
best.
would be it.
Awesome. Well, it's been wonderful having you on here. We certainly enjoyed driving down your magical psyche highway today. So it's been a
Thank you.
yes. Scott, anything you want to say?
Man, this has been awesome. I've had horses my whole life, so it's refreshing finding somebody else who has that type passion.
Yes,
So
absolutely. It's a big question. Awesome to hear. That makes me happy.
Once again, it's been a pleasure, Nicole. We're so grateful to have you on here. And for our viewers,
Pleasure is mine.
oh, thank you. For our viewers, thank you for coming. We're glad you're here. If you like this, please give us a thumbs up. If you think we're assholes, give us a thumbs down. We don't care. Just glad you're here. Come back again next week. Comment, share it with your friends, and thanks for traveling with us down Nicole's magical psyche highway. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Wow, what a trip. Thanks for taking that journey with us today. Please like us, share us, and enlighten us with your views of the topics we drove into today. We appreciate you and love reading your comments. Thanks again, and we hope to see you back on the bus next week. That's right.